Alright, everyone, welcome back. So, the Florida Panthers. I doubted them again. I feel like I do this every single year. Especially like last year. I really doubted them, and then they ended up making the Cup Finals. But we'll ignore that. So with Florida, lately they have been on an absolute tear, and it's a good thing because like they're doing this without their really two good players. Like they're doing it without Sam Bennett, they're doing it without Brandon Montour, they're doing it without Aaron Ekblad. They're doing it without those notable players. And I think it just goes to show that even when those guys come back, they could get better. And we really underrated them. Maybe their roster, maybe they didn't get hot at the right time after all. Maybe they actually are a good hockey team. Because I made the argument through a lot of last year that they just got hot at the right time. They reminded me a lot of the 2021 Canadiens. And I just said that they just got hot at the right time, and they were going to be bad this year. Maybe not. They've been good so far. They're currently 8-4-1 for 17 points. They are 7th in the NHL. They've scored 40 goals. They've let in 37, so maybe that's a little bit of a concern. But they are 5-1 at home. Their home record has been great. Like in the playoffs, it was kind of the opposite. Their road record was great. Their home record was still good, but the road record was awesome last year. This year it's been 3-3, so it's been 500 basically. But just this team putting this together, even with the injuries they dealt with during that finals run last year, just goes to show that they are still a really good hockey club, and they definitely deserve some more recognition because they really are climbing in that Atlantic Division. I believe they are second right now. So that is something that I do want to keep in mind. And it's a part of it is really their top six and their scores. Secondary scoring really hasn't been there. It hasn't been as big. I'm not trying to discredit them at all, but it really has been their top five that has done a significant good job with managing this team overall. You got Sam Reinhart leading the way, who Reinhart's been on an absolute tear. He has 13 games played, 9 goals, 8 assists for 17 points. He's been absolutely awesome for Florida. And a guy who, in the playoffs last year did very well, but also had his share of struggles during last season. But this year, it's been a really good year for him so far. Alexander Barkov then there too, with 12 games played, 5 goals, 9 assists, 14 points. Barkov making franchise history for the Florida Panthers. Nothing surprising there. Been a great center for them. Good defensive play as per usual. And then you have Matthew Tkachuk. Then you have Tkachuk. Tkachuk arguably carried Florida last year in those playoffs offensively. And, this year he's still doing well. I'm not trying to discredit him at all. But he really hasn't. He's been helped out by Barkov and Sam Reinhart a lot. Tkachuk, 13 games played, 3 goals, 10 assists, 13 points. Not even scoring a lot. I think he's really just giving Sam Reinhart the puck, and Reinhart's just putting him in. I feel like that's what's happening here because he hasn't been scoring a lot. So that plays a factor there with Florida with me. Next up then, you have Evan Rodriguez, 13 games played, 3 goals, 8 assists, 11 points. Who would have thought Evan Rodriguez would have been off to such a great start? And again, maybe a big factor of that too is he's just giving the puck to Barkov and Reinhart. And I think that does play a role, but he's looked so good for Florida overall. And a guy who they signed in the offseason that was the only signing that I was like, yeah, that's a good signing for them out of all the guys they signed. So yeah, definitely good to see Rodriguez there having some consistent success with the Florida Panthers for sure. And then finally, fifth in scoring, you have Carter Verhaeghe with 13 games played, 5 goals, 4 assists, 9 points. Verhaeghe playing another really good season with Florida. Again, having a good year. Other guys, there aren't many players outside of the top 5 that have been notable for me. Besides Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Larsson's really turned back the clock. That was a signing that when I looked at it, I was very against it. I didn't like it whatsoever. OEL was a liability in Vancouver, and he wasn't going to go back to the days of his play in Arizona when he was good. But now he's looked really, really decent for Florida, putting up some solid numbers there. Just barely missed out on the top 5 in scoring, doing well defensively and offensively as well. And I think with guys like Ekblad and Montour being out, it's given him a big opportunity to really boost his game on that blue line for sure. As it goes for goaltending, then I'm sorry, Andrei Vasilevsky. You got Sergei Bobrovsky, not Vasilevsky, definitely not Vasilevsky. Bobrovsky has 11 games played, a 7-3-1 record, a 2.65 goals against average, and a .907 save percentage. Those stats are pretty good. They aren't like awesome numbers you would think for a Panthers, for a goalie, or for a team that's this good. Sorry. For a team that's this good, you think the numbers would be a little bit better, but he's getting the job done. He's doing what he needs to do. So yeah, I like Bobrovsky a lot there. He's been a good goalie for Florida. Just wait till playoffs when he gains and loses like 30 pounds in a game. That's just how he rolls. As I mentioned, like Bennett, Montour, and Ekblad are out. However, though, Paul Maurice did say through the past couple of days that in this 10-day period here where they move further into November, it looks like Bennett and Montour are going to make their returns within these 10 days. Ekblad's going to take a little bit longer. I think we're not going to see Ekblad till probably December, maybe a little bit after that, but it's still a good sign there to see these guys coming back. And I mean, if they can hold it down till Ekblad comes back, then they're in a really good spot as it is. So definitely, I like Florida there a lot in that situation. And I think they have a really good shot at making the playoffs in this division because you really have a few teams that are struggling. Like Ottawa struggled. Toronto's kind of struggled a little bit. But obviously that division is not a division you want to fall behind in fast. You want to start off well in that Atlantic division, and it's just going to show that Florida, they've done well. And their schedule doesn't really get much harder. They do have a California road trip in November, though. That is going to be brutal for them, probably. You got Chicago next game. They did lose to Chicago, but, I mean, you know, it was one game. So they do have Chicago again. Then they go on their California road trip. They play San Jose, they play Los Angeles, and they play the Ducks, all in California. So definitely those are going to be games to look forward to. Then they play Edmonton. Edmonton's been a pretty weak team, so those 5 games should be easy for them. Maybe not Anaheim, but the other 5 games should be very easy for them. Then you got Boston. That's another big hard game on the schedule for this Panthers team. Then you got Winnipeg. Then you got Ottawa. Then you got Toronto and Montreal. So I think they come back and then they do another or they either do a homestand or they do another road trip through the city of Canada, through the country of Canada. Yeah. But regardless, I'm liking the way Florida's playing. I doubted them again. I said they'd be a bad team right about now, but no, they've been pretty solid. Maybe this goes to show that I just should not doubt the Florida Panthers anymore. But anyways, let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, comment down below. I really appreciate it. We will be doing more videos on certain teams soon, but it's good to make a video on Florida. It's been a while since I made one, and I've been pretty negative on them the past couple of times. But regardless, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.